What's next for Ukraine? That's a question I put to William Courtney earlier today. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Georgia and Kazakhstan.
Well, next is for the authorities in Kiev to form a parliament that is representative of the people. They need to develop a constitution, probably going back to the 2004 constitution, which gives a better balance of power between the parliament and the president, and then prepare for presidential elections.
President Yanukovych is calling this a coup. He was democratically elected in 2010. He's been stripped of his powers now by parliament. Does all this pass constitutional muster in Ukraine?
Yes, it does pass constitutional muster, and Radek Sikorski, the Polish foreign minister, has underlined that. What Yanukovych is doing is essentially a desperation move. Party of Regions, people from his party in Kiev have abandoned him. He's gone out to the eastern part of the country trying to rally forces there, but people there are saying they want to stay in Ukraine. They don't want to be part of Russia, and I don't think they want to be part of Yanukovych anymore.
Right, and if we look at the situation right now, is there effectively a power vacuum in the country?
No, the parliament is pretty well respected so far. Let's say the ad hoc parliament in Kiev. The Party of Regions people are being constructive. So I think there's not a real power vacuum in some sense, but it will take a little while to get organized.
The president has some kind of a support base. Is there any likelihood that this could escalate to the point where it could lead to a civil war?
There has never been a likelihood of civil war in Ukraine. Some commentators have said that that's wrong, and we're finding that now. So he's abandoned Kiev, he's gone to the eastern part of the country, but the people who abandoned him in Kiev were his supporters. And now he's not getting the residents in eastern Ukraine either. They're not saying they want to go with Russia or go with Yanukovych. I think Yanukovych is a lonely and tragic figure at this point.
Okay, let's look at the view from Moscow. Russia, well, of course, it's preoccupied with the Winter Olympics right now. But is President Putin just going to sit back and see this happen?
No, he's probably going to try to stir up trouble in eastern Ukraine and especially in Crimea, where you have more ethnic Russians than you do ethnic Ukrainians. And Crimean Tatars are there as well, and they're a little bit split. He's going to try to stir up trouble. But this has been the greatest foreign policy tragedy for Russia since the independence of Russia in 1991. Russia overplayed its hand, overreached, was too imperial, used too much intimidation and coercion, and has failed.
Right. One other significant development, that is the release of Yulia Tymoshenko. Does she have a lot of support in the country?
She does have a lot of support, not unanimous support, but she's well respected in the western part of Ukraine, and she's from the eastern part, actually. Her close aide is now the new Speaker of Parliament, so that's a sign that Yulia is going to be a powerful figure. She may be the strongest candidate for president, but there may be one or two others as well.
Is there any likelihood that we could see a split in the country politically between the western side, which is largely pro-Western, wants to be with the European Union, and the eastern and southern side?
There have been some divisions, but two things have happened. One is young people are splitting from old people in Ukraine. Younger people, even in eastern Ukraine, they want to be Europeans. They don't want to be Russians or semi-Russians stuck in a pro-Russian East Ukrainian part of the country. Second, Putin has done more to unite Ukrainians than anyone has since the collapse of the Soviet Union, because he's angered all the Ukrainians with trade embargoes and other kinds of intimidation. So no, I don't think there is going to be a permanent split. And in fact, I think the country is probably now going to be on the way to healing.
Ambassador William Courtney, thanks for joining us, sir.
You're quite welcome.